if you've been watching my channel for a while, you have undoubtedly heard me talk all about the power of limiting beliefs, but maybe you still don't really know what a limiting belief is, and maybe you are not sure how to change one if you find one. So today I'm going to make a video all about that, all about the art of changing a limiting belief. So if you want to find out how to do that, then be sure to keep watching. What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jen. I am a spiritual life and business coach, and you have found my YouTube channel. This is where I make 2 videos for you guys every week, all about combining spirituality and personal development together so that you can use them both to create your best life. If that sounds like something you're interested in, then be sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So welcome back guys. Thank you for joining me here today. And like I said at the top, today we are going to talk all about how to change a limiting belief. So you have probably heard me talk about limiting beliefs on this channel before, but just in case you're new here or just in case you need a little refresher, I'm going to start off by explaining what a limiting belief is. So we all have limiting beliefs, and a limiting belief is just something that you have latched onto. It is a belief that you have had probably for a very long time, which either limits what you think is possible for yourself or limits what you see as being possible in the world. And so that is a very kind of broad statement, but an example of a limiting belief would be, I'm not good at public speaking, for example. So yes, of course, maybe in the past you've had some moments of public speaking that didn't go that well, but continuing to believe that your life will always be like that and that you will never be a good public speaker is a really good way to limit what you actually accomplish in this life. So there are a lot of people out there, I can guarantee, who are going around believing this about themselves, but what they don't realize is that with a little time and attention and practice and a little bit of mindset work, they could probably turn into a pretty great public speaker. It really isn't about what your actual limitations are, because the thing that is really getting in our way and giving us the limitation is us. It is us saying, I believe this, or I believe that I can't do this, I should say. And that creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. Of course, if you don't think you can do something, you're never going to be able to do it. So that is how a limiting belief changes the way you are in the world and actually changes your world. It will actually limit what you think is possible for yourself and limit the possibilities that you see in the world around you. So when you start to do the work of personal development and manifestation, you are probably going to come across some of your very own limiting beliefs. And it is one thing to talk about them, and it is one thing to understand that everyone has them, but it is an entirely different thing to find your limiting beliefs and to start to change them. So that's why today I wanted to put together this quick video for you with 4 steps to tell you how to find and change a limiting belief. So this could apply for basically everybody. So I hope you're excited to learn the process today, and let's get right into it. So step number 1 to changing a limiting belief is simply to noticing the belief. And that might sound like it's not even a step, but it actually is. We need to have awareness of the problem before we can start to solve the problem. And this is the case with limiting beliefs. Most people just think these things are real, and they've believed in them for so long that they don't even realize that these are limitations that they are believing in. So this might be challenging for you to come up with at first, but I want you to start thinking about an area in life where you feel stuck, or an area in life where you feel like you want to grow, but you're like not making the progress that you want to. So I want you to think now about the ways that you think about yourself, the way you describe yourself, the common things you say. So for example, say you are trying to find a romantic relationship and you're looking for your ideal partner, but sometimes you're out with your friends on Friday night having some drinks and you find yourself saying, all the good ones are taken, or all the men in this city are terrible, or I only attract people that are wrong for me, or something like that. So at first you might even really believe in these things, right? You might believe that all the good ones are taken. You might believe that you just live in the wrong place, or you might believe that you just have some sort of personal luck following you and only bringing you people that aren't good for you. But I can assure you that every single one of those things is actually a limiting belief. And actually sitting around talking about it, complaining about it, giving this idea more and more power over every Friday for months and years is actually giving this idea that you have about the world a whole lot of power and therefore a whole lot of magnetism. It is going to keep expanding in your space unless you do the work to go out and reprogram it. So those are some very concrete ideas of limiting beliefs. You might also want to think about the way you think about money, about the way you describe yourself, about whatever it is that you are trying to work on. I just really challenge you to get a little bit curious and just really notice what you are putting out there, what you're thinking, what you're saying. So the point here is not to be judgmental, and the point is definitely not to say to yourself, oh, well, I don't really think that, or I don't really believe that. If you find yourself saying it, or if you find yourself like hearing it like a voice in your head, like a thought, you probably have had that thought there before. You've probably come back to this conclusion multiple times before. So I just want you to first start off by making a note, writing it down. Maybe do this for a whole entire week, and when you get to the end of the week, you can pick the one that you want to work on. But just bringing this awareness to what you're thinking and believing and saying is so key, and so many people miss this part completely. So like I said, the very first step is awareness, and once you have your thoughts, once you've figured out something, I'll go over and meet you in the second step. Okay, step number 2 for changing a limiting belief. Now that you have a list maybe of a bunch of different limiting beliefs, it is time for you to pick one that we are going to work on. So we're going to do this one belief at a time. Unfortunately, you cannot just go in and banish all of them at once. It's going to take a little bit of work for you to locate them and go through them one by one. So once you pick your one belief that you want to work on, now I want you to take a little bit of time, maybe grab a notepad and set aside some time where you can go and sit down and think about this one statement. So a limiting belief is just a sentence, right? It is just one singular sentence. And again, maybe that sentence for you is all the good ones are taken. So I want you to take your piece of paper or your journal, and I want you to start writing down all the evidence that you have in your brain for this limiting belief. And that might be months of evidence, years of evidence, but I want you to get curious and to start to write down this stuff. So these are all your memories, all of your past incidences that have proven the statement to be true. And maybe there are a lot of them, or maybe there's only a few, but they're really big in your mind and they hold a lot of pain. So I want you to take just whatever they are and put them out on a piece of paper and just kind of look at them and understand that your brain has been proving you right. So I'm not saying that you have caused these things to happen to you, but the fact that you're holding onto them as evidence is keeping you stuck in the same paradigm, okay? So what we really need to start to do is to start to look beyond this paradigm, and I'm going to get to that in the next one. For now, it is just a moment for you to thank your brain for doing its job, and your brain's job is to try to keep you safe. And by categorizing things under this limiting belief, it is trying to do its best to keep you from having these things happen to you again. Unfortunately, that's probably coming along with the opposite intention of keeping you stuck in the same place. So again, release this without expectation. Don't get stuck in judgment. Don't get stuck in self-loathing. And once you have this list, then you've completed step 2 and you're ready for the next step. Okay, step number 3 in how to change a limiting belief is to decide on what you want to believe in. So I know when it comes to limiting beliefs, people think that, oh, this just happened to me. I started to believe these things because of the world that I lived in. And to a certain degree, that's true. Like, you obviously had very real experiences that happened to you, and I'm not trying to minimize them or say that those things didn't happen. But this is the cool thing. You are a conscious creator, which means you get to consciously create your life any way you want it to be. And so your choice right now is to look at this belief and to look at this pattern that you've been carrying around and to decide whether or not this is serving you. So I know when it comes to limiting beliefs, it can be hard for us to get out of our old perspective. So my very first question to get you starting to shift your perspective here is just to ask that. is there another way of seeing the situation? So to go back to our sample limiting belief, all the good ones are taken. Is there another way that I could look at this? Is there another way I could see this in the world? Is there another option available to me? So those are all really important questions to ask yourself. And this is kind of a two-parter, because the second part of this is, what do I want to believe in? So what beliefs would serve me, and what beliefs would serve the kind of person I want to be and the future I want to create for myself. So again, you get to choose your beliefs. No one else comes along and puts them in your brain. You ultimately are the one in charge of doing that. So my challenge for you today is to pick the belief that serves you, that doesn't hurt you, that doesn't hold you back, that doesn't minimize you, that doesn't make you play small. The belief that has you show up as your best, brightest, shiniest self. What could you believe in instead that would help you to be that? So most people will want to hold on to their old beliefs just because they're right, and our brain really would rather be right, even if that keeps us unhappy, than change its perspective, because change is always scary and new, and scary and new always means that maybe we're gonna die, which is completely illogical, of course, but that is exactly what our brain is doing. So again, this might be really uncomfortable. It might be really challenging for you to go through this part of the equation, but this is your power. This is you choosing and building and creating your life. I really believe that conscious creation is the art of choosing. This is where you are choosing. You are choosing where you are going. So get excited and choose what you want. Okay, we're almost there. So for step number 4, the final step in choosing a limiting belief, now it is your job to go out there and to start collecting evidence of what you want to believe in. So we already looked at the evidence that you used to have of the idea that you are trying to get rid of. So for example, all the good ones are taken. So you've got your little list there of ways that this has been proven to be true for you. So we are going to send your brain now on a little scavenger hunt. So you built up those memories, you built up that reserve of ideas about that belief effortlessly over time, because this is just what your brain likes to do. Your brain likes to decide on something, and then it likes to look for proof that things are true. So we're just going to work with what your brain automatically does. The only thing that we are doing differently now is consciously choosing what you want to believe in. So now that you have your conscious new belief about the same situation, I want you to start challenging yourself to look for evidence of the new belief. So this might take a little bit of time, or maybe no time at all. It really depends on the situation. I mean, you can really undo a limiting belief really quickly, and then other times it takes a little bit of work, because again, remember, all of this stuff took a lifetime for it to come into your brain. So it likely probably is going to take a little work to undo and to create a new expectation system around this. And that is totally okay. Just be gentle with yourself. Again, don't be judgmental, don't berate yourself, don't, go down the self-loathing highway. None of us need any of that. Again, this is all about choosing consciously and choosing with love, and choosing and choosing and choosing until your choice becomes your automatic default. So if you want, you can make like a notes page in your phone, write down all your evidence in there, or maybe it is enough for you just to remember it and to consciously look for it as you go through your day. It really depends on the situation for you. You also might want to take a notepad, sit down, and start to look for the evidence in your past of how this wasn't true. So that's actually very powerful, because you've already lived these experiences, and now that you have just a new lens, sometimes you can go back and look at the same experiences and see something different. So growth is all about changing our brain to move differently, to think differently, to fire differently. And sometimes you can do that by looking at your past stuff. So whatever method you take, and no matter how long this takes, I just want you to commit to this. And there's not going to be like a bell that goes off and tells you when your limiting belief is gone. So it's going to be up to you to come back and check on this. But anytime you find yourself crawling back, creeping back into that old limiting belief that is keeping you stuck, just remember that you can choose the new one. And you might have to practice choosing over and over again before it becomes a habit. You also might get it overnight, I don't know, But either way, I just want you to have fun with this, be loving with yourself, and just be excited for the kind of future that you are creating. So again, you get to believe in whatever you want to believe. A belief is just a thought, and you are the one who is the gatekeeper of the thoughts and beliefs. So even if this thought has been yours since you were 5 years old, if it isn't serving you now, you have my full permission to go in, locate, and change it. And in fact, I really challenge you to do that, especially if you're feeling stuck about anything. So that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for being here. I would really love to know how this worked out for you. So if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and drop them below. I'm also so excited to announce I have a brand new class for you to take for free over on my site. It is called the Money Manifestation Game, and it is a super fun challenge, and it will really shift the way that you think about money. So if you want to get involved in that, then come on over to the site. I'll leave a link below for that as well. Other than that, if you like this video, give it a like. If you know someone that could use this message, pass this along to them. If you want to watch more, hit my latest upload right here. And if you want to hang out for the long haul, hit subscribe over here. Other than that, I'll be back in the next one. So until then, I'm wishing you a magical week. And as always, just remember, get ready for the miracle. See you guys.